Good morning. Happy Monday, Instagram. I'm getting ready to go live with Jordan Rossman up in Ontario, Canada, so we can learn a little bit about why he chose to move from Century 21 to Real Broker. I'm going to give it a couple seconds as people join in. I wish we had a little bit of a music here that we could play, but we don't. So in the meantime, you're going to get to hear me ramble on until Jordan jumps in, and we're going to bring him in live and ask him a little bit about why he decided to make the move to Real Broker. Shout out to Siri. Shout out to Davisha. Good seeing you in Dallas. So happy we finally got to meet. All right, Jordan's on. I'm going to bring him in. And let's. Yes.
Hey, here we
Boom.
are.
We got it. What up, Jordan? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. For those who may not know who you are, introduce yourself to all our tens of thousands of fans and followers.
Yeah, I'm Jordan Rossman. I run a team called the Rossman team out of a small town about an hour north of Toronto. People always think I'm from Buffalo, but I'm just a Bills fan. But I am on the Canadian side of the border. And yeah, I've been in real estate for about 8 years. In July of this year, we switched to Real Broker, and yeah, our team's just loving it and plugging along.
First and foremost, as a California kid who happens to be a 49ers fan, I'm rooting hard for you next Thursday as you guys open up the season against the
Thank you.
Rams, the hated rival LA Rams. So I'm going to be rocking my Josh Allen jersey.
Love it. Thank you. I appreciate the support.
So I was talking to you a little bit ahead of time. Now I know who you are from our curator ecosystem, right? And like a couple other ecosystems that we're a part of. So I've seen a lot of your content for a long time, but I haven't really got a chance to like rap with you and talk a little bit. So when I called you ahead of time, I'm like, hey, real quick, how much business did you do? And you told me last year you did
70 million.
$70 million in business with just how many team members?
Two, me and two others.
Bonkers. Congratulations. That's a huge
Thank you.
year. That's right about the same level that we did here in California, but I have 5 team members. So one up on you. Congratulations. Props. But that's a monster business. You know what I mean? That's really good business. And you, in the meantime, throughout the last year, you took your team and you moved from Century 21 over to Real Broker. Talk to me a little bit about that move. Like what prompted that?
Yeah, you know what? I had a really good relationship with Century 21. Century 21 Canada was great, and the broker owner at Century 21 and I had a really good relationship. It was the only brokerage I had ever been with. I started day one with them and had a really good relationship with them. So honestly, I wasn't looking to leave. I wasn't looking to make a move. But I kind of always had told them when we were talking about our relationship and how it would look long term, I said, there's going to be some company that's going to come up from the States and they're going to eat everybody's lunch. And I said, I'm not looking to leave until that company pops up. And then I'm gone. And I didn't know it would happen so quickly. But when Real Broker, I first started seeing it, I think Joe Herrera was like the first guy that I saw go. And I'm learning, through this process that when you see one person go, it's like, okay, I'll take a look at that. But then you start seeing another person and another person and another person. And different from some other brokerages that I had looked at, some other alternatives, it was like heavy hitter after heavy hitter after heavy hitter. And so I was like, all right, I got to take a look at this.
Yeah.
And then once I saw it, I couldn't really unsee it. And then here we are.
So talk to me about that. What was it that you saw? Because you said you weren't going to make a move until the brokerage that came in and took everybody's lunch came in. And this obviously was it because you made that move. So what was it about Real that made you make that move other than seeing Joe and other top producers? I don't know when you went. I don't know if Amy was before you or after you. And there's some people obviously from our ecosystem that I've seen join too. You, the Brads and the Katies or whatnot, right? And so you just saw those people, that's great. But what was it about the actual brokerage that made you make the switch?
So for us, it was a mixture of a financial model that I knew worked, that, there's other attempts at the same financial model or similar that were just not the right fit for me culturally and from a brand perspective. But Real Broker was the first one I looked at that seemed to have it was fail safes where if the revenue share was not something you were interested in, then the stock options and the splits still made it a no-brainer. If you didn't care about the splits, the revenue share and the stock options made it work. If the stock options didn't work, well, the revenue share, there were all these different things where it was like, if you took any individual part of what this brokerage offers and you got rid of it, would it still make sense? And it was the first time I looked at one, and it was, it met all of that criteria. And then obviously the first thing was just seeing all these people, but it was something where the brand just felt right to me, and I looked at it and I was like, this seems to be directly in line with our trajectory.
Yeah, I think you're right, because at the core of it, it's a brokerage, right? It's cloud-based brokerage, 85/15 with a 12K cap. So like, if you never bring someone on through RevShare, or you don't buy into the stock payment purchase plan or whatever, and it's, you literally just go and sell real estate, it's still a really competitive brokerage. It's an 85/15 with a 12K cap, so you can reallocate the money back. So it really makes it a win-win. And then all the ancillary stuff, if you decide to add that in, that's just gravy. Which, that being said, there's people who literally only do that type of stuff and they still make money. You know what I mean? So it's, as Jeremy Knight in the comments just said, it was kind of a no-brainer, right? So one thing that you do really, really well is you produce a lot of content, right? Talk to me a little bit about your, obviously this could be a 20-hour freaking marathon if we go into the thing, but talk to me a little bit about what it is, like your strategy with content creation, maybe one or two tactical tips to give, and then why you thought that Real Broker would be the best brokerage to kind of help promote that.
Yeah, so our content strategy is about help. We want to be helpful, and our content sort of started to take off in a much different way when we accepted who we are, we accepted what we wanted to do, and we stuck to that. Like, funny's not my thing on social media. Trendy's not my thing. We found that our audience really needed help with, if you look at the last 3 years in real estate, there's been ups and downs and so much confusion and chaos. Our ideal audience and our ideal customer is someone who needs guidance. They want to know that we know what's going on. They want to know that we're sort of with it in terms of what is actually changing and happening in the market. So ours is very like educational based. We do it pretty much all on our Rossman team page, where we talk directly to consumer. And it's educational based. It's, what's the big question? What's the problem that our audience has? How can we simplify that? That's why I love Reels. Like, I guess you can do Reels in 1:30 now, but we try to keep it to a minute or less. It's like, how can you take this complicated idea and simplify it in a minute to somebody and give them, we understand what you're going through, and here's the solution, and here's how we can help. So that's kind of our content strategy, is about help. And then Real Broker was, I trust me, I say this in the most humble way possible, but in our small town, in our small brokerage, the brokerage that I was at, although it had 250 agents, there was nobody creating like we were. So we were kind of the top end of what, people wanted to pick our brains on things. They wanted to learn from us. They wanted to do all of these sorts of things, which is great. And it can pad your ego, and it can feel great when everybody's telling you you're a rock star. But then I wanted to go to a brokerage where like we were the little guy.
Yeah.
Where it was just a bunch of people who are 1,000 times better and ahead of where we are. I wanted to be in that room. I wanted to be in those conversations, so that, we could take what we have, which everyone at our previous brokerage was telling us was so great, to now, we want to be in there with guys like you who are, from the social perspective, like 10x everything we're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But yeah, I kind of echo that sentiment too, from a certain perspective. Now, that being said, I was at Compass, right? And there's great content creators all over the country at Compass too. But at the same time, the people that I was looking up to were, the Brad McCollums and the people in Katie Days, and people who are putting out like just professional content at a high level, very consistently, with the best camera angles and the best lighting and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, wow, these are people that I look up to, that I mimic when I do my content. And so then I started to see each of them start to trickle over, and I'm like, like maybe there's something there, kind of like going back to what you said initially, like when one person does it, that might be one thing, but like now when I've seen 3 or 4 or 5, there's a creator culture that's brewing over at Real, and that really attracted me, for sure. 100%. So yeah, cool.
It's similar with our like we have this shared connection with Curator. It was very similar when I joined Curator years ago. It was like forget the details for a second, forget the price, forget the services, forget all of that sort of stuff. It's like get me in the room with the right people, and the connections that I made in that mastermind group over the past 7 years are have taught me everything that I know today. And it's like just that's what I'm striving for is like get me in the room with these people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes it's betting with Curator. I always said like I bet on the jockey, not the horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like with Jimmy and Chris, I wanted to be in that ecosystem. I didn't care. I mean, I did care about the price and all that type of stuff, but like I almost didn't. I just wanted to be around them. And it's very similarly like, were there other 85, 15, 12K cap options, cloud-based brokerages? Yes, yes, yes. There's other options, or there's 100% shops, right? In at least here in San Diego locally, there's actually 100% brokerages. But at the same time, I wasn't in the ecosystem of the content creators that I wanted to be around. I was just on a call this morning with Katie and Bob, hosted in the Real Academy, that had 50 or 60 people all talking about TikTok and Instagram Reels and content creation. And it was just it's that level of kind of like camaraderie and masterminding that I knew I wanted to be a part of.
Absolutely.
So as I turn it over to you to say a final goodbye, Catherine Rossman did just try to join in. And so if she's still around, come back in and I'll bring you on.
She's probably hitting the wrong button.
But yeah, leave us with something here. I really appreciate you taking the time. I wanted to keep this quick, around 15 minutes. That's about where we're at, but leave us with something here.
Yeah, from a real perspective, to me, like you nailed it. It was bet on the jockey, not the horse. With Real, it was like, get me with these people, all of the details. It doesn't matter what my traditional brokerage offered me. They could have done it for free. They could have said, we're going to charge you nothing for the rest of time. I didn't believe in the traditional brokerage model anymore. I believed in what the future of real estate is going to look like, which is Real Broker. I believe that. Whether there's others, I'm sure there'll be others that come along that are similar and get hot, but Real Broker, as of today, is what signifies to me the future of real estate. And I wanted to get in as early as I could. And look, even just the fact that it's put us closer and put us on a, connecting our networks, and even that, there's the value right there for me.
Yeah, what's so funny is that when I was going through kind of like my on the way out with my previous brokerage, I was talking to my regional leadership and stuff like that. And my wife, who actually still works for Compass, she was a transaction coordinator manager, but she was the first person I asked about the entire move and everything, and she was okay with it. And so I was like, hey, she said, hey, like, what if they come back and they offer you 100% split? You know what I mean? 100% zero cap. Would you still stay? And I'm like, a really valid point. And I don't, the answer was still, I don't think so. Like, and that's the crazy part. It wasn't necessarily just the money aspect of it. That's what actually initiated my digging into other options. But ultimately I was like, it's not necessarily just the money aspect of it. I'm not leaving the brokerage. I'm leaving the model. Like I'm going over to this new model, which happens to be better for the money side of it, but also with the layers of like the communication and masterminding with the other people, but the ancillary stuff like the rev share and the stock option, it ended up being like, even if it was a tie, I would have left to come over to Real. I thought that was interesting. It's funny that you said that.
It's 100% true. I had one question for my wife, and it sealed the deal on us coming to this decision together. I said, okay, she's getting caught up in all the splits and the numbers, and she's not in the real estate world, so it's getting a little crazy for her. And I said, pretend I'm with Real Broker, sell me on why I should switch to Century 21. And she was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. That's
there's
good.
There's no sales pitch to go back. So
for sure.
Here we are.
Here we are. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Go Bills.
Likewise.
Big game next Thursday. Take down the Rams for us. Make it easier to win the division. I really appreciate it. But yeah, man, thanks for giving us the time. And I'll get you some clips. Good talking to you.
Good chatting. See ya.
Okay, bye.